Hi there, I'm Jen, this is Remembered Reads, and this is going to be the Pumpkin Book Tag. The Pumpkin Book Tag was created by Josh from Literary Gladiators, and I was tagged by Rachel Morrow last year, around this time of year. And I meant to get to it within a month or two, but once that was passed, I thought, well, I might as well wait until the next time it's seasonally appropriate. So here I am, a year late. I will link to both of those videos below. Question number 1. Pumpkin, a writer you always make a point to read in October. I've never been a seasonal reader, so I don't have an answer to that. There's no one that I read in October. I know some people read particular horror or thriller writers, but not me. But I just don't do anything like that, so it's alright. Question number 2 is Pumpkin Spice, a work you would read to impress a millennial. Over the summer, a group of my dog park friends went out to dinner, and there was a group of, I think, about 7 of us, and 6 of us were in the 35 to 50 range, and there was one guy who was in his late 20s, and he was horrified that none of us had read the entire Harry Potter series. There was one woman who had read most of them with one of her kids, and I've read the first one. And in both cases he was like, and you didn't want to read the rest of them? So he wasn't impressed with us. Question number 3 is Pumpkin Pie, a work that makes you think of autumn. The first thing that comes to mind is Ali Smith's Autumn, because it's called Autumn and has an autumnal themed cover. So there you go. Even though the book itself doesn't make me think of autumn, it makes me think of memory and Brexit, but hey. Question number 4 is Pumpkin Cheesecake, a work that was challenging to read but was a rewarding experience. I don't know that it was really challenging to read necessarily, but a book that I had put off for years because I was just, I suppose, intimidated by it just in theory without knowing much about it had been George Eliot's Middlemarch. And then I ended up listening to the audio version of it while Rincey from Rincey Reads was doing her read-along, not last summer, but the summer before that. And I was surprised by how entertaining it was, and it was entertaining, it was fun. So, yeah, I guess that would be my choice. I'm not sure how cheesecake is challenging, though. Cheesecake is delicious. Anyway, question number 5 is Pumpkin Bread, an underrated work from a well-known writer. Well, I think my default answer to that is always Michael Ondaatje's In the Skin of a Lion. I think he's obviously better known for The English Patient and then for some of his more recent novels, but I love In the Skin of the Lion. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I wish more people picked it up. It's set in Toronto in the 30s mostly. The English Patient is sort of a sequel to it. Caravaggio and Hannah are in it. The main character of the book is Hannah's stepfather. But it's worth picking up if you have not. Question number 6 is Pumpkin Soup, a work that you first enjoyed but then lost interest. For about the last 6 months, I've been reading on and off one of Drew Karpyshyn's Star Wars tie-ins, Annihilation, which is about one of the characters who is in the Old Republic games. It's a sort of a game tie-in more than a world tie-in. And every time I read a chapter or so, I'm reasonably entertained. It's one of those books that I keep on my phone just to read when I'm standing in line. That's not too deep. You can go in and out of it. But I'm just not that interested in it, so I only ever read it in line. So I only ever read a few pages. Question number 7 is Pumpkin Doughnut, a light 5-star read. I only like heavy, depressing things, so I don't know. I kind of want to pick Warren Ellis's Chronicles of Wormwood, which is funny and irreverent, and not for the easily offended, because it does deal with, it is kind of sacrilegious, but it's about the son of Satan and his talking bunny sidekick. Come on. But it's actually not that light, so... The other choice that I was going to say was going to be Snow Hunters, Paul Yoon's novel about the Korean immigrant in Brazil who becomes a tailor, but it's actually not that light because the backstory is a war backstory and is quite harsh. So both of my 2 choices are not actually that light. So I don't know. Question number 8 is pumpkin picking. Within the last year, in which genre did you purchase the most books? Because I get most of my books out of the library, I haven't bought that many books. So the most books that I bought are children's books because I always buy books for my nephew whenever I visit my sister, and also for his birthday and holidays and whatnot. So kids' books would be my answer. Although if that's cheating, I would say probably Canlit, just because I bought the grab bag when I was at Word on the Street from one Canadian publisher, and I picked up a couple of books from another publisher, so yeah. Question number 9 is pumpkin carving. A work that could have been trimmed down. That would be a lot of fantasy writing. Basically everything that Joe Abercrombie or George R.R. Martin writes could be trimmed down. Yeah, Joe Abercrombie's The Last Argument of Kings. I remember while I was reading that, thinking, I know that the torturer is in constant pain. You don't need to keep telling me. But yet, every time we met that character, he's in pain, he's in pain. Yes, I know he's in pain. Yes, I know the guy whose name is Nine Fingers has 9 fingers. Yes, I know the prince is dumb. Stop telling me. Ah, that drove me crazy. That needed more editing. Question number 10 is pumpkin painting. A book with magnificent illustrations. This will be a bit of a weird choice, but I loved the covers, the issue covers, that were on the Grifter and the Midnighter miniseries. They were awesome. They're sort of watercolor. I don't remember who the artist was, but I'll look it up and make a note of it, but they were just great. The story itself is silly. It's a crossover where Grifter and Midnighter team up to fight giant alien sperm from Mars. I'm not joking, that is the plot. It was funny, but the covers were just gorgeous, so I'll insert 1 or 2 if I remember to. Question number 11 is pumpkin ice cream. The most random work you would recommend. The most random work that I'll recommend is Nigel McCreary's The Final Season, The Footballers Who Fought and Died in the Great War. Why do you want to read this, you say? I picked this up a couple of years ago because it was $1, and these are 2 interests of mine, so I thought this would be entertaining. But there was actually a surprising amount of information in here that was interesting. The second half of it sort of becomes a litany of the dead, which is less interesting, but the first half was actually a really interesting social history about pre-First World War England. So that was very interesting. And I would recommend it to people who don't enjoy war or sports writing, just for that element. Question number 12. What is your favorite way to enjoy pumpkin, or what is your favorite dish where pumpkin is the main ingredient? I'm gonna say pumpkin pie, because why not? Who doesn't like a good pie? I know some people don't like the texture of pumpkin pie, but hey. And then question number 13 is pumpkin patch. Who do you tag? I'm gonna tag Priscilla from Bookie Charm because I just watched her vlog for the Latinx readathon that she was co-hosting, and I was so impressed by the editing that she did that I feel like I need to mention that now. And her sister Yvette from Book Cave, because they are both booktubers. Okay, so that was the pumpkin book tag. Thanks to Rachel for tagging me last year. Hopefully I won't take that long on the rest of the tags that I haven't gotten around to. Oh, and as always, if you weren't tagged but you'd like to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. That's it for now. Ciao.